Hey everybody, my name is Skye and this is Kiko and we have the Ups and Downs podcast. Hey Kiko.
Hello, I'm so happy to be back here. How are you, Skye?
I'm good, and you?
Excellent. And how is it going after your birthday week?
So after my what?
Your birthday week, the
Oh,
big
my
party.
birthday week. Actually, I am a little bit tired. It's a little bit of excitement because then it stops and then it's my sister's birthday. So
Oh, right. Oh, you guys are very
yeah.
birthday.
Yes. 2 years, 4 days.
Oh, wow. So close.
So we are. It was always like a birthday time of year. But for everybody listening, I've been raw vegan for 4 years. Kiko's been raw and high raw for 20 years. And it's basically saved our life, changed our life. And we wanted to come on and talk about community because a huge part of what Kiko and I are doing, and which is really taking off in a really nice way, it seems people are loving it and we're loving it, is the community side. So do you want to start, Kiko?
Yeah, I am so excited about this topic because the other day I was just thinking, like I think someone asked me like, how do you have a story of you becoming vegan? And I was thinking, oh yeah, I don't think I've had a video, so maybe I might do the video why I became vegan. And the reason that I was able to stick with vegan is thanks to the community. When I lived in Hawaii for over a month, I was with this raw vegan community, and yeah, that ever since then, there was no negotiation. I was vegan for life, and as I mean, as Skye mentioned, I have been on a raw vegan journey for over 20 years, but I always struggled to be fully raw vegan. Maybe I did it for 3 months and then I would start including cooked food. And then I would, it's not to say that cooked food is bad, right? It's just that I didn't feel good on a cooked food, but I did it for social setting or whatever the reason. And it was like always like a struggle. Like every 3 months I would have to adjust, and I was just so tired. Like, why can't I just stick with fully raw vegan diet? And this year, because I published my first book, I was connected to raw vegan community. And I love you, Skye.
I love you too.
You're my superstar. You are so reachable. I mean, you have so many followers. You do so many lives, but you're so reachable for everyone. You know, there are people who are who have many followers, but they would never communicate on a DM. You're kind of person who can connect directly, and I really appreciate that you are connecting this raw vegan community so beautifully. We've got women's health podcast. We've got raw party for US people and the one in Europe. And it's just such an easy way to be part of the community because I think I've shared over 20 years ago when I started raw vegan diet. It was so great, and it was just I was living in New York, and raw vegan was like the thing. There are a lot of celebrities and models coming to raw vegan restaurants, but there was like a raw vegan celebrities and us, and there was like a huge bridge between raw vegan people and raw vegan wannabe in a way. So yeah, anyway, I love this time, and I definitely think that you have made a huge difference in the community. And it depends on the people. Some people are make it. Um, some people think it's very easy to stick on raw vegan, like Lila in Finland. I've interviewed her, and she said it was very easy for her. Like for 3 years, I think she did fully raw vegan, and it was okay. And there are a few others. They were just, yeah, they were able to just do it on their own. But someone like me who is social person, who I was already so used to dining with others, sharing, that it was very difficult.
Yeah. I think in my case, because I had been disconnected socially for so many years and it was like life or death when I started, it wasn't like a bounce back. But when I think back to trying different diets when I first got sick in my teens and 20s, the whole reason that I never stayed on them, not that they worked extremely well, but was because your free time and who you are is really about what everybody around you does. And if everybody around you doesn't do that, you're not only sick and in pain and miserable, is you're also now eating different to everyone around you. Like the only time you felt maybe something is when you're around people, your friends, and they're all eating in a way that you are not. And it's almost like you see it as a punishment. And a lot of what I did when I started doing the raw food thing and why I created my website the way I did, and not in like a fix me type way, but a like, how do I sustain this in restaurants? How do I do this on a Friday night when I want a chocolate bar? And it was to map out all the raw food shops around me. But now that I've been doing it for 4 years, the difference in who I am as a person, because I'm so on screen and not just connected to you guys, but a lot of people who are constantly talking to me on screen, is it feels like I'm complete. Like there was obviously a separate part that I just never dealt with, but I didn't need to, because I'd always been for like 15 years nonstop in a bed. So before that, I would still get up but go back to bed. So I was still social, but it's not a stretch for someone like me to go off and not have that social connection. But now that I do, it makes me feel complete. But that's why I think it can mean different things to different people, right? I think when we come at something like we're doing it only to fix ourselves, we can get entangled into like a negative connotation. But when it's like, this is my life, this is what I do, I have up days, down days, we're all friends, we can do it. It's like such a sustainable, normal practice.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's nice as a community. We feel more safe to share our real life because
Yeah,
back like raw vegan leaders or like YouTuber who were very successful. I feel like they were sort of in a lonely place because obviously there are not too many people who are doing it, and they feel obligated to show the best. And we've seen some fallouts, like they couldn't share what was going on, and they just completely went to animal based diet.
true.
And yeah, and I think it's
Yeah.
much more safe, I mean healthier and sustainable way to do it this way as a community, because this diet is quite rare, right? Like if you go to see your doctor and you tell, oh, I'm only eating raw vegan, and then most doctors, like I would never share this in my diet to doctors here in Japan, because I mean, I did. And she was so concerned that she had to do so many blood tests that wasn't necessary. So vegan itself is already rare, and raw vegan on top. So it's important. It's crucial for me that we have this community to share and get some inspiration to incorporate into our lives. And I love that the Women's Health podcast, to be able to share comfortably between women and learn from each other.
Yeah. Look, I do agree with you that when you can get like big influencers can get caught really high up, is they feel and I think Yolanda was one of those who said like she's like so many followers, so many people relied on her. She couldn't share, and I don't know the full story, but her struggles. And I think that it not hurts people so much at the time, but then when they find the fallout and they were literally rely, that's the only connection where I feel like I want this to be like not only we share, but people feel safe to say, you know, I had some really rough times. But look, I was talking at the raw food meetup about going back to coffee. And I said, what's so interesting is I feel like taking that one step back taught me so much. I learned so much about myself in doing something like that. And that's why I encourage people, don't beat yourself up when you try things, because that's, you just learn, like you really do learn. And it's, yeah, and I think what's really important is the way, just even a year ago, where I would see myself as an influencer and my role is completely solo in what I do and share, whereas now I come on and I expect to see not only you or you guys at parties, but also a whole lot of people that I talk to when I'm online that I'm connected to. And that makes me feel more than normal. Like this is just my reality now. Like but it was missing before, I think, as well, but I just couldn't see it because I had always been like that. So it's because you were saying is you feel like you're able to stay raw now because you're connected.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think about it. It's so easy. Like, I don't, it's not that, oh, I have to stay raw. It's just became natural because, I'm getting more inspiration from you and other people on Instagram. Most of the people I'm connected, they're high raw or fully raw. So yeah, I mean, I think I'm influenced quite a bit with people who are close to me, and that's why I'm very careful who gets close to my life, and not
Yeah.
just dietary lifestyle, but I mean, the how we think, right? How we approach to our life. It's like
Mm.
I just have to shut down and make sure that I have a good, friends close to me who would inspire me and not bring me down all the time.
Mm.
So I mean, publishing a book was a huge step for me. And yeah, and also Lisa, Raw Food Romance. She's great. I mean, she's also very inclusive. Like I remember she said like when she started raw vegan diet, she tried to reach out to influencers and no one responded to her. And for her, she wanted to make sure that she reached out. And I don't know how she managed her time. Like I feel like there's like 100 Lisa there to respond all the messages. She's so polite and she messages back all of her, like if I mention on her YouTube or Instagram, she always comes back on the tiniest message that I send. It's just incredible. And yeah, I respect her so highly, because she learned that she didn't like that the reality of raw vegan influencers being so secretive and clean, sort of cut up. And whoever the raw vegan people that I used to follow like 20 years ago, they pretty much now eat animal products and no longer, not even high raw vegans, right? So
And this is that monkey see, monkey do. Before I get into monkey see, monkey do, is Lisa is amazing. The same when I was first starting, and you write her a message and she writes back, and she says like when she does it is that's how she felt. She felt she wrote to people when she first started, and she got no response. But she's amazing. The monkey see, monkey do is what we're battling as raw foodists, because we are essentially an animal and we will do just like baby monkeys end up doing what their mum does. Yes, we've got genetics, but we follow those that we're around. And not just that we're around is whoever we watch on a movie, whoever we watch when we walk down the street, whoever we watch when we go sit in a cafe, whoever we watch when we sit in a park, is our nature is built that way. So it's actually not possible to stay doing what you're doing unless you've got safeguards. Like you've literally built an armor to like keep you where you are, which I felt I did. I would never stay anywhere too long. I would not stay on being polite, like start just doing things for other people. I would make sure I carried food everywhere. But in truth, the way it makes it very easy not to do that is to majority of who I spend my time with or do is be online or connect. I'm a coach, or just talk to you guys in the chat. Organize holidays and trips with people that have the same lifestyle as me, because it literally, if you decided to eat raw food and then that's the battle we have. You walk out into the world, the billboards, the people, your nature and a big driving force in a human is to mimic who we see. So that's why I think having a community like this, it just feels normal.
Yeah, truly. I have never participated in like a raw vegan retreat where, I get to meet many raw vegans, but I did meet quite a few raw vegans, like 101, or like when I was living in Costa Rica, there were some group of people who were were very interested in being fully raw. But yeah, I'm very happy with this online community where, it's like abundance of people, and I feel like there are more and more people popping up, in on like even on Instagram, and I don't know. Yeah, I feel like it's much easier connection through Instagram and YouTube. I don't know. Do you
Yeah.
feel since like you've been doing it for 4 years? Well, for the first year, we were not that connected, right?
So the first year I would post more photos and just me, like I was just finding my feet. Once you do a raw vegan bundle, you're extremely connected. Like,
What?
because I must, like, that was probably like you, my starting point. So after the raw vegan bundle is when, from then on, I did not stop posting reels every day for 1 year. Now I don't post as much because I'm on multiple platforms posting long form, but it really showed me what I was capable of. It allowed me to tap into a community which was already established. So Lissa and Chris already had established this community. So I got to just step in. And that community is quite tight. If you ask me, that's like a foundation of like just the everyday raw vegans that, may not necessarily be doing it to fix something, may have fixed something, but they're continuing it to have good health, and they might come out and they might come back in, but there's like a big community there. And I feel like that is probably a lot of who follows me and who I'm connected to
Mhm.
still. And then also what's great about YouTube is there's people who they just want to better their health and themselves. And the more and I don't like the word influencer, but someone who shares it and shares content and shares themselves, it's nice to just connect to all sorts of people who just, they want to better themselves. They try something, they come back. And the more accepting I am of people, the more accepting I am of myself. So what I've
Yeah.
really noticed as well by doing this and being more connected in this community is how much I have not had to put a shield up being, well, that person's not raw vegan. They're not doing it right. I've got it right. And that's very toxic, because it's like your brain doesn't know that you're not talking about something else. It thinks you're talking about yourself, and you end up sabotaging. And now I've become much more less dogmatic, more connected. Um, so hello, soul autoimmune.
Hi, so
So I think that was a huge, that in my experience has been the greatest step. It was one step to do raw vegan and become very closed in and then be very much in the raw vegan community. But now I feel who I'm meant to be is talking to everyone who wants to do better their health, because it's about love. Like, as much as I talk about food and grounding, is the only access I have to those is as much as I love myself. The people I choose in my life and I stay connected to is a reflection of how much I love myself. When I don't feel good, I'm going to bring negative things in without even knowing. And so that is not just raw vegans. That's people are on different journeys. Like, I would hope when I was on the paleo level of it, that somebody still loved me and was talking to me, because I would stay in the chat or the video because of that.
yeah, I'm definitely seeing, I'm definitely less judgmental to others, and it's
Yeah.
really the reflection of myself to others. Like if and then I'm understanding finally that what we see is just the mirror. And I've been told this so many times, with this Buddhist belief, and they said that, if you're having a hard time with someone, relationship, it's just a reflection. I always used to kind of say, that's not right. I mean, this person doesn't have my character, but this person annoys me. But there's always something that's in me that's annoying. It's just a reflection. So if someone is says something negative, I don't get offended like I used to before, because I mean, of course, I will check on myself first, but most of the time it's whatever they're going through in their life is just throwing at me. And
100%.
I might have a book that whatever, like I might have triggered something in this person to reveal something. But I'm finally understanding. So if I get annoyed, I know that I have to work on myself, where before I was just criticizing, why is this person not eating animal products. It's not about them.
I also think there's this protective stance, almost a denial. Why would I have to spend any time thinking about what anybody else is doing? As in, like, why do I have to worry if somebody else is not vegan? How much time should I be spending thinking about that? Why would somebody, like, why not just take yourself and go to the beach with some fruit and get yourself some fresh air or go for a walk? Like, that time can be spent bettering myself. And I feel like, or just get on and do a live, or get on and make a new video to share, like, about something I've learned that day. Because in that, I'm not going out to fix somebody. I'm going out just to share an experience. And in my experience, this is when I get the emails and the messages going, you did a live 3 weeks ago where you spoke about, your struggles with, or hormones or a histamine or something. And I realized that that's me. And I get more continuation of healing from people by just being me, as opposed to going out and telling people what's wrong with them. Because I lived 40 years, or even still, there's things that I've got to work on myself with. And anytime somebody points a finger at me, it shuts me down more. And I do believe when you first go vegan or raw vegan, you can become that type of person to protect yourself, because you don't want to become who you're around. So you keep pointing the finger. But in truth, the greatest I have found for myself and others is to be loving where they're at. Because each person isn't waking up each day to just mess themselves up. They're really just getting along. And in truth, to this day, I've never been able to get someone to change by the, like, you need to do this, and you're wrong, you're broken, you're a mess. Like, that's just making my heart actually feel horrible right now and giving me nausea. And that is how sensitive I am. And that's why I stay so high vibe. I cannot function without love and happiness. And that's what I want for humanity. And essentially, I actually learn quite a bit of people who aren't raw vegan, who have done raw foods. And I learn of people who are more accepting, but are also not just, as I said, raw foodists. So
yes, I think setting the priority on spending what we do in a day is so important. Like you were saying, like, why would we spend our energy and time to think about something which is not under our control? And why don't we just shift our priority, or our focus and priority, and think about something that we could do, something exciting in our future? And I try to catch myself every time, if I feel. It's interesting because we were thinking about doing anxiety, dealing with anxiety this week, right? And Skye and I, we were talking about that, and we decided to do community and raw foods that excited us more. And when I feel anxiety, I try to shift my energy and say, okay, that situation it's not going to change me getting worried. So what can I do? What would be more exciting and more beneficial for my future self?
Yeah, that anxiety last week was probably the worst I've copped it, just because I the anxiety that came up for me was that I had to do jury duty and that I had a pre-booked trip, which I was really looking forward to. And then jury duty was in a place. So I've mentioned this before. So in my 20s, I did work for 4 years. And when I worked is I would sometimes just sleep in my work clothes and go to work all like, because I could barely function, sleep on the way home on the train. So the last time I trained it in with a new opportunity or anxiety that was raised was when I used to work where I was going, very close. The same routine type, you get up early, train timetable, and then someone else has got a lot of control. So I've called them and I said, look, I'm going on this trip. And they're like, you can come in and do a shorter jury duty. And I just was just so much. And then I got there and I was like, they're like, can you do 3 weeks? And I go, I can't, I'm going in a couple of weeks. And then they're like, okay, you're dismissed. And that was all over. And it took like an hour to decompress, but it was like living post-traumatic stress. And as I was going in, I'm like, this is why I don't work in the city. I'm glad I work from home. I want my beach. I want all these things. And I, in truth, have not experienced that. And I think there were different levels there where I was reliving the work, that work routine that I really was horrible all those years ago. And then also that lack of control. But I had not experienced anything like that until that point.
Oh, that was a bit of a flashback of bad memories too, then.
Yeah, it definitely was. That's what like a huge thing. I also feel like this year, a lot of that has come up for me. So as I think as time's gone on, I've got a lot of my memory back, which is great because especially my autobiographical memory, like who I was, I knew I lost a lot of it, but could not access it. And I love that coming back. But with that comes back this other, my trauma, which has not been processed at any level, which was definitely not accessible when I was first raw. And so it's like going through that. And that can be rough, but I share it because, I feel we all go through it. Like, how could we not? Like, other people would have, that might be very simple what I explained to somebody else. But for me, you compound all of those things. Like, I'm going to miss out on something again, but also I'm reliving this route that really used to cause me a lot of anxiety. And yeah, so that
Yeah,
was rough.
about the jury duty, because I'm not really, I mean, don't I've never participated, but could they say that no, you have to cancel whatever?
That's what I felt in my heart. So as much it is the government, it is legally bounding whatever you're committed to. And I think that was really like, it's more so of the point that like you go to look forward to something and is something going to be taken away again. And I think it was just it felt very traumatic. Like, I break a foot, doesn't bother me as much. And I go through some emotions there, but this was really like, it's because what is my greatest fear was not the being sick, was most of the time when I started to get my life back together, disease pulled it away from me my entire life. And that was the trigger because it's not that getting sick I can be good at. I'm an expert at. I was sick for an extended time, but every time I would just get on my feet and start booking holidays for myself, that was the trigger here, is that something out of my control took it away. And that feeling I could not do, and add to that, not sleeping the night before, being stressed about it. That was like my pet hate. And I kind of talk about that in my lives, that when I lost my life, as in like the life that you have as a teenager, that was harder than being consistently sick. You become an expert at it. But my fear is that losing life, losing social life again.
Yeah. Oh, well, good that it turned out you didn't have to do it at the end because again,
No. And to be honest, is if they asked me to come back after my trip, it wouldn't faze me whatsoever. It was that point of somebody, the government having that's a huge amount of control. It also stems off like a lot of the trauma that I have is where doctors kind of pulled off medications from me extremely fast and then put things back in. And then like that higher power having a greater control, but feeling yourself I could say losing, but in those situations, getting sick again. Like it's that higher power, because that's the government or doctors in a hospital. When somebody has a huge amount of control over you, that's been my most traumatizing, because as much as something, which I can imagine anybody who's been chronically ill, when, you don't have a say in what goes in and out of your body or in and out of your life. And that is why I like to keep my life very simple here, by the beach, lots of nature, talking to good people. And you can even say the smile comes back. But when I get into that, like it's trauma, right?
Yeah, and I love it that we have this safe place to share, because when I think everyone who goes on the raw vegan journey, in the beginning, it's like it's a true paradise, and then you feel so great, and you want to tell that there's nothing wrong, and that's it. We found this a place of paradise where we are, there's no disease or sickness or anxiety can stay. And I feel like in the beginning it was hard for me to share what I was going through, and even like going on over 20 years, certain things I don't feel comfortable sharing with people who used to attack me with the kind of way I eat. You know what I
Yeah.
like? Now I feel I'm more open and sharing, because I know it's helping others, and thanks to Skye, who has encouraged me to do this. Yeah, so when I was going through anxiety a few months ago, I've shared a bit with Skye, and it was so beautiful for me to be able to share that story, because I'm very open, but I don't share a lot with people who I think is not going to benefit. I don't know if it means, like, I don't want to waste people's time listening to my story, right? So for me, there's always some purpose, and the purpose is to connect with people in a right way. I don't know. I hope whatever I say comes out
No,
right.
well, I get this. This is why I haven't written a book on my journey yet, because I will have to put so much of my soul and self into it. And I could do it to help people. I'm not there to do it for myself yet. But if that energy output of sitting in that trauma is not going to reach enough people, I can't do it yet. So I spoke about, because people have said, are you going to write a book? And I said, yes. But at this point, not many people are going to access that book. Like, it's not like when you've got huge amount of followers or reach, it will reach a lot of people. And it's not that I'm lazy or anything. It's that it is a lot of trauma to sit in, and then just say 20 people or 30 people buy it. To me, that is not enough to put in. And then if it's, as time goes on, I will process it more and be able to write something better. And it will just become null and void, but I'll have had to put out a lot of energy. And it's like that, right? I'm not going to, I can get on and share and sit in the trauma if I know it's going to help enough people. But I can't just do it, because I can sit my own trauma at home. By myself. I don't need to dig in. But some topics that come up are like that. But a book is a whole new level. Like, as you know, when you write a book, you have to go back and visit those times. And it's more about what I can do right now, by sitting in that space. Because that's what it creates, right? When you do that and that's a lot to sit in.
Yeah, you have to almost relive what you have gone through. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I can't see the message.
Oh, let me bring up some of these. So Ola O Hello has said,
You're also teaching based on experience. Some people don't know the right path.
and so some people listen to, philosophers used to go out and just talk, right? Is people will pick and chop up bits of it that applies to them, and come away from a talk and be like, oh, that's interesting, I could try that. But what even scares me and why I don't do it is how much, when you flick through or see YouTube or something, how it's 30 days to a new you, lose 7 pounds in 7 weeks. That catches a lot of vulnerable people, whereas I don't want anybody. I didn't heal like that. I couldn't heal like that. That almost broke me. What did finally heal me was obviously sitting in my own space and feeling things, but for people to feel things for themselves, because I believe that keeps people healing. I don't believe anybody truly heals by thinking there's a pill or a program which fixes them in a set amount of time. Of course, that there's something there that can completely support them, but not be the whole answer, because the journey goes on. There's no like short period. If you're on a true health journey, it will go on. There's no like it's fixed and then you flip back to your old life. And that is like, and what I want people to know is their own path by what they're attracted to, by what people say.
Yeah, definitely. Like, on the influencers that I was following, they seem to have like a perfect, I was so sick and I'm never sick. And then, this, it's a perfect life and never been sick for whatever the years that they've been doing. And yeah, the reality is that most people are not like that. They don't just go raw vegan next day and cold turkey and never have issues. Or the people that raw vegans, that the real raw vegans that I've met, they go fasting, fall off, and they go water fast or even like dry fast and go like very hardcore detox. And then as soon as after they come out of this detox, they'll go eat pasta and pizza.
Yes.
Feel really bad, and they'll they're going through so many ups and downs. And I honestly, I felt raw vegans, like high raw vegans, were the worst people to hang out with, because they have this, many of them had these bad habits going back and forth. And I was so easily influenced that I said, you know what, I need to be alone and protect my health. And that's why it's so important to be able to share what we are going through. No one is perfect, right?
That's right.
To be able to share not just on diet, but like a daily life, like what you have gone through. And I also like what I have gone through a few months ago, which was like why is it happening to me? And I was being harassed, and I was thinking of bringing it to a court, two cases, 3 cases all at once within few months. And what can you do? Like I just have to keep on doing the routine to keep me sane, eat well, because I know if I eat the junk food, it's just gonna make me feel worse. But being able to share, that's so important.
Yeah. And I think everyone should be able to share where they're at. So a lot of my actual greatest healing transformations or discoveries have come out of things that I would have thought people would judge me for. So a lot of the time is if I work through it, what people don't understand is how I can help as a coach more, or even help more in my lives, is because I, like at the moment, I didn't even mention this. So since adding quercetin into my diet and doing, I'm doing all greens, and the last 2 days I've had because last weekend when I tried to eat dates and raspberries, my belly just swells up. I get like this disorientation, like a dizziness, and I have to lay down. The last couple of days, I've had like 10 dates, 2 packets of raspberries, and felt amazing again, to the point where I forgot how good you can feel. Because I knew that I used to feel good on a high-fruit diet, but I have not accessed that. And I know a lot of people are like, you're doing it wrong, you're too much this. And I'm like, no, you have to let a person work through. And that's what people have seen, is all you've seen me do is work through. And I feel possibly now there's still, like I've been doing, yesterday was a great day, for example. There was still chia, a bit of flax oil, still greens, but I had a larger amount of calories was coming from sweet fruits again. And people could have derailed someone like myself or someone working through. I do believe my body needed a complete break, because also what I've noticed at this point, I do believe quercetin and magnesium, I believe it's all added up for me. And I don't believe there's one answer. And I've shared the entire journey as how I've got there. Is my stomach is beyond flat now. There's no bloating, there's no swelling, even after the raspberries. And I appreciate that I will stay doing what works for me because I worked my butt off to get here. And I feel raw food is like that, is I enjoy the journey. I enjoy however I do raw foods, but you have to let each person learn and stop telling them they're doing it wrong, because the reason I may eventually need to go back to greens more or veggies, maybe because I learnt what it does if I get myself into like a SIBO type situation again. And that's my journey. So this is what, back to learning from coffee, learning from doing lots of greens. Like I feel like for the past year, especially like when we did blood tests on me, is my iron was low. I had high blood sugars and I had low sodium. And people could be like, oh, doctors just say that. That was not on my blood test. That was not on any of the 3 years before. It came up when I essentially isolated. I needed to listen to my body again. And I feel like there's so much power in like what your body gives back to you.
So you have been doing, so quercetin, how long have you been taking it?
Only a week, and I noticed straight away that I got, what you hear me complain a lot about is I get this nerve pain with my mast cell activation, predominantly in the joints because there's more connective tissue there. And then what is on top of it usually by the night is a rash around my ankles and around here, but more around my ankles. And that's quite common, is with mast cell activation and histamines, you get this rash. I noticed if I was very continual with the quercetin, so at the start I was taking it 3 times a day, and if I didn't take the afternoon dose or the middle dose of the day, I would start to notice this nerve pain, which essentially drives me to addiction because it's pain. It makes me not think of pain. I start thinking I need coffee and I need alcohol, and I've spoken about this in lives. That stopped. Now, if I do not take a dose, I will start to get itchy around my, not nerve pain anymore, just a scratchy around my joints sometimes.
Oh my God, I'm going to try. I'm going to have to order it.
It's really good. I do believe it's part of a package. I do believe taking magnesium at night was a part. Lowering, blood sugar response can increase histamines. Okay. And the other thing is eating a lot of fruit means that you have to have a really full belly instead of, and I notice how I've gone to dates, not a watery food, because I would need to eat more. And I'm really noticing with having no stomach that works. But I do believe, and I have always included in the description, my mast cell activation kit, which I had not updated with the quercetin yet because it had only been so new. But I do believe that. I do believe now that the probiotics are helping. I didn't notice a huge difference with probiotics and enzymes, but they break the food down. I've always said that. Not with transit and histamines did I notice a big difference, but I did notice when I looked in the toilet that everything was completely digested. So I was getting nutrients. But quercetin, I've ordered DAO as well, which is because I don't have my stomach, so I don't have a lot of DAO, because the stomach makes the DAO, which is the diamine, I think it's oxidase, which breaks down histamines. And I don't have that. So that might be an extra level. But I think we all have to remember where we've come from. We're assuming that we just eat fruit and we become godly and it'll all be fixed. And if not, we're being punished for our sins or when we're detoxing. Whereas I think if you accept the warrior journey that you've been on and what has the whole universe got to supply me with in the most natural form. And I always try natural first, more green juices, the juice, then it's like seeds, and then really didn't want to go down the supplement route. But I've got not just 7 missing organs, also my adenoids, my tonsils are gone. So it's like there's parts of me, and they took out ligaments, they took out glands. There's a lot missing. And if I accept, but I will say that this is when with me something's made a difference. I have not carried pills with me since I used to be sick. I do not leave this house now without quercetin, because if the little itchy bits come up, I just take it and it completely stops. But since doing it, as I said, I've noticed these 2 last days, not only have I had higher fruit days again, which I have not done, and felt good in about it. And that's the feel good. By the night, I'm like, I forgot you feel like this. Like when you have like the sweets, and I was having like dates with raspberries, and I noticed my body does respond much better to denser, like the denser veggies, denser nuts, because it doesn't need as much. You can't stretch something I don't have. But yeah, I thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, that's great. I'm so glad that you mentioned it. And we are living in such a beautiful I think we are living in such a beautiful world where we have access to so many things. And of course, we want to reach out to something new, and that's why Skye and I have gone on a high fruit diet for a certain time, and we also even did this fruit detox or juice detox, right? And we've gone through this and I think it's good, it's all good for us to learn. And I also want to update on myself. 2 weeks ago on this podcast, I've started doing 3 tablespoons of flax seeds, no chia seeds for me, and started to add a little more flax seeds, and that the huge green smoothies that Dr. Brooke Goldner suggests. And for the first maybe 1 week, I was doing really, really great. But after that, I just couldn't stomach. My stomach was getting so big. Like my
Oh,
husband,
wow.
yeah, my husband was like, "Oh my God, that's scary." My like a baby belly. Oh,
Wow.
and I did it for 10 days, and I just couldn't stomach it anymore. And it might be, I might have to adjust the tape, quantity of chia seeds per day. But it was just, it came to the point after 10 days, it came to the point that it was so hard for me to breathe. Breathing was not comfortable.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Oh my gosh.
and so I did try the natural way. I did try fruits only. I did try green smoothies. And then I decided, okay, you know what? My skin was not healing fast enough. So I started including flaxseed oil. And it's been only 3 days, but it seems like it's working really well. My skin has
Yeah.
repaired a lot faster. So yeah, I mean, I did not use. I posted this in detail on my Instagram, I think yesterday, and I haven't touched processed oil in a long time, and I was even scared. But this omega-3 fatty acid is something so important, and it's
Yeah.
I watched a YouTube interview on Dr. Joe Furman or something like
Yep.
that. Yeah. So he mentioned that there are more equal about the same rate of occurrence of what is it? Not Alzheimer, but Parkinson's disease. But vegans are experiencing about the same Parkinson's disease, and he said that we should experience less because we usually vegans, we don't eat animal products, but he says that there is a very important. We need to be mindful with omega-3 fatty acids. And say, oh, that's very interesting that coming from him. So anyway, that was an for me.
Sorry, I should also mention on my healing journey is I have continued to use omega-3s, and they are a huge part of why I feel my stomach is flat. I feel better, everything subsided. But so I would say omega-3s, a little bit of magnesium at night for me. The probiotics have helped, and also the quercetin is like the final key at this stage. But I notice as well, so I try and do everything as natural as possible. So I've tried to do the chia and flax, and I felt more tired, and my stomach wasn't as flat as the days if I do just oil and veggies. And now apparently sweet fruit I can do as well. But if I did just those, is the next day not only was my stomach flat, but a lot of the like creakiness I get in my body, which is, you could call it chronic fatigue, but it's like my body just slowly starts to lock up, like dehydration. I don't know. But I find those omega-3s keep you like lubricated and help the fluid stay in. I'm not as thirsty. But I find the omega-3 oil works extremely fast, extremely well. And I do notice the taxation on the body when you put an oil in. But I always think about what am I willing my body is built to process things. It is built this way. If you do not want to use those tools, you eventually just live off water and you wouldn't live. Like, they're there for a reason. So I am willing to make my body work extra hard to get very quickly omegas. Does that make sense? So it'll work really hard, what it feel like with the chia and flaxseed and ground for me. And there's just not enough output of the omega-3s, but I feel it works. Like, it feels like it almost like locks up quicker, but then it's all over doing better because it's getting the omega-3s. I always think about this, like, what am I willing to put my body through to get the result? And the result, it might feel strong, but the result is quite extensive. Like, it everywhere feels better with that oil.
Yeah. How many tablespoons are you getting per day nowadays?
So I would say, I should measure. I'd say 4 in 2 parts. So I'll do like about 2 over veggies, and it's such a small amount now, none of these big things anymore, because just my digestion cannot do that. So it's I'm having quite dense meals where you're getting just a regular sized bowl you get at a restaurant or it's normal person would eat. And remember, I have no stomach. I will chop that up. I'll put oil over the top. And then also, so 2 tablespoons, and then some ground chia, maybe 2 tablespoons, 1 or 2 of the ground over the top. And I'll eat that, and then I'll leave that. And then yesterday I got in like lots of raspberries and dates in between that. And then at night it was probably 1.5 tablespoons and maybe 1 tablespoon of ground seed. Also, just know I'm probably not necessarily getting the entire amount of the seed, because it does sit at the bottom. You know, you get it on the veggies, but some is left. So I guess I am on average getting about 3 tablespoons. And I will say here, this isn't to copy. I know that that's what Dr. Brooke Goldner recommends. It's just, you will always hear my default. I can't follow anybody. So she's obviously onto something really good there, because it's very similar. And what I do notice is, as much as I love carrots, if I add anything sweet, I feel everything in my body so fast. And I think having estrogen back makes me feel it even more. Is if I add something sweet in the veggie dish, I can have it after. I can't have fruit before yet. I have to have fruit after. Is that what was I saying here? Exciting, right? But I forgot what I was going to say. It'll come to me. Oh, carrots. So the sweetness in the food does not, it seems to be a bit disruptive. Meal has no sugar in it. It seems to not bloat as much or feel discomfort. But then I'll give it like half an hour, and I'll get in like 4 or 5 dates with a packet of raspberries, and I can have that as a meal. But I notice, and it may be FODMAP because I've stayed away from carrot, and that to me is still like a sweet food. Seem to do good with your mushrooms and your cauliflower and your Brussels sprouts and your purple cabbage. But if I add a sweet component, I just notice I have to be very careful, and I think it's a SIBO type thing, because I'm getting I feel I worked very hard this year on my gut health, and I'm getting results.
Yes, you definitely are known to be a slow digestive food. Anyway, on top of being sweet, root vegetable. But does it happen for with the beetroot? Because that's sweet as well.
I haven't been called to add beetroot in, but I don't know exactly what's going on, but I hear Dr. Brooke having sweet fruit put in. I don't necessarily think it's the fruit as much as I think that when you've been really sick and I think of what histamines do is, if you have a blood sugar spike, you're going to have histamine issues, fertility at all. And people may not like me saying that, but what I notice about my body is, even though it's easier to digest, it's like you get something from it, right? When you're putting like cauliflower and Brussels sprouts, you're not getting anything from it. And when you're really sick, sometimes that is all your body can handle. Neutral, null. Like, it's like someone says, I was so sick and all I could get in was rice, or I was so sick, and that's not giving you any volatility. Whereas I find when I got to that spot that I was in, is just the more greens I did, not that I felt as amazing as getting the carbohydrates and fruit in, but my body gets the nature of what it does, and it just falls back to the memory. If somebody's really sick, they tend to stick to something very bland. We're driven to eat something very bland for a reason, you know. But as you can hear, is I'm saying my gut's getting better, I'm getting better, and now I can get the fruit back in. And I'll keep updated. It's only been 2 days.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because we are, as a raw vegan, we are told to start with fruits, right? And we all have to find our journey. And you know, someone might be inspired to do the same like you, and it might work, it might not work. But I think the what I want to share is, you know,
yeah, of course.
it's we stop listening to our body, right? That's the most dangerous thing, I feel.
100%. That's the thing, right? Is you watch animals out in nature, and they're drawn to different foods at different times for different needs, and we want people to find is they got into this stage of like, I'm going to eat this because it's what I'm, you know, it's what I should do, like with the getting into the fruits. But what I realized by doing so much variety now, especially denser in the vegetables, and people may not think I am, but like having sea moss gel and having seeds and different seeds and greens, and yes, most of the time it's omega-3s, but I will go back and forth, is I've just noticed my health of my body getting in all of these nutrients, like ending up eating up gave my body a lot. The other thing about detox, and I don't like to use the word much, I like to use lifestyle, is that you can't expect someone like myself who's been sick their entire life to now process that maybe for 20 years they have to detox themselves. Who is going to constantly detox? Is that its job? It's process, get rid of, process, get rid of. Either like assimilate, get rid of. That's what it does. But why not enjoy? I feel like I need to sit in love. And when I start feeling pain, I'm not in love anymore. So that's what directs my diet, is how do I feel the best with the lightest load of food and variety. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. Anything else?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So Miranda, when we're talking about veganism, said, hey guys, we all need to exist as the best version of ourselves, and others will either naturally gravitate away or shy away. We can't control others. We need to focus on. She sent lots of hearts with that. And that's so true, right? Hey, GM.
Hello, everyone.
GM74. Nice to have her associates around. We appreciate you. How are you? We are good. It's Monday. We're sharing lots of excitement. And then just for you, Kiko, there's a question here. We did go into this last week.
Nowadays,
we did do a whole video last week, but go for it.
I adjust a lot. And in Japan, so we have 12 seasons, right? The Western 12 seasons. No, not 12 seasons, 4 seasons. But here in Japan, we call 24 seasons. And we are very much in touch with nature. Like before World War II, Japan was very much connected to nature, and she knew all about nature. So what I'm saying is that I'm always adjusting, and now it's the peach seasons. So actually, this is the perfect season for fruits. We have beautiful peaches. I get mangoes. I get passion fruits, melon. So I started my morning with melon. We have beautiful Asian pear, nashi. So yeah, I eat that. Then I might I would add some green smoothies. So I add CMOS gel, 1 tablespoon, and sometimes I would add chia seeds. I'm trying to eliminate some of the chia seeds because I feel bloated. And then after that, around 2 o'clock, 1 to 2 p.m. is my lunch time. And I'm having a huge bowl of salad. But so I have been sharing natto, how to make natto, homemade natto on my Instagram and YouTube. And natto has been helping me a lot. I used to, I had to eat a whole big bowl of salad, and it was so tiring. It would take good to be able to eat a lot, but if I have to be out with my client, that's a bit that brings me a bit of anxiety, because 1 hour eating just for guys schedule. So I'm so happy that adding natto, I can finish my salad in half an hour, no problem. I don't have to eat a huge amount of salad. Then on top of that, I'm adding the omega-3 fatty acids, pressed flaxseed oil. I'm very surprised, like pleasantly surprised that I don't feel flaxseed oil is so heavy. Like if compared to vitamin C's oil, I felt like that was heavy, but I'm not feeling. Yeah, I'm not feeling any heaviness with the flaxseed oil, but I feel full. So yeah, and definitely I felt difference that around 5, like I don't need to eat anymore, so I can stop eating around 4 to 5, and then I would start eating around, I don't know, 7, 8 in the morning. Yeah, so that's how I eat. And I drink a big glass of ginger lemon water, which I love.
Sure. Each day, once a day or multiple times a day. Let me see it if I can find it. I know where it is. Hang on. You're gonna have to bear with me as I get it. So I at the start was taking double doses 3 times a day, but I backed off. I tend to do that when I start something to get it working quickly. But let me just see if I can find the amount for you guys. But I backed off to really twice a day at the moment. But if it flares up, I'm not scared to take 1 or 2 tablets. Like if I get a flare.
That's wonderful, Skye. I'm so glad that that's working out for you. And it's only 1 week.
I'm like that though. I think things work for me very quickly, and it's more so on this lifestyle. But I will know straight away when something is like benefiting me in some anyway. This is like magic.
And it came in a perfect. Yes, it was your birthday week that you started, right? Yay!
Okay, so I will say it has bromelain in it as well, but it's quercetin 600 milligrams, and this is such a good brand, that Bioceuticals brand. I'm pretty sure it's worldwide. I don't think it's just Australian. I could be wrong. It's got bromelain's 3.6 million per unit. That would be per unit. I don't exactly know a lot about bromelains, but the quercetin is a natural histamine of polyphenol, which is in plants, and it's just extremely concentrated. So when I started this, I was taking double 600 is like 1,200 milligrams 3 times a day. And then I noticed if I forgot a dose, I would get at my joints scratchy twice a day. And if I get something that comes up, I will take 1 to 2 tablets of this, depending how bad it seems to be coming through, and it will just stop.
Can you bring it up closely again? Bioceuticals. Okay.
Yeah, Bioceuticals. So I can link the brand here. But yeah, this has like made a huge, what it's done is a few people get little bits of rashes now and again, right? I hope that eventually settles down. But I was not liking the nerve pain. And that's gone on this. The
Oh,
nerve
that's
pain,
great.
yes. Bioceuticals. It looks maybe it is only Australian. They're absolute amazing brand. If you're in Australia and you have to get a supplement, this is like the brand people usually go to. So I think this comment only goes over to YouTube, but yeah, it's made a huge difference in my life.
That's cool. So,
Yeah.
and why were you inspired to take this?
So it's a natural antihistamine. I bought vitamin C as well to take, but the way that they deliver vitamin C, I'm better off to have an injection because as soon as I put a dried plant in my system, there's histamines on that plant. So the vitamin C is like dries rose hip and goji berries are all mushed up. And when I take it, it probably will help over time, but I get a flare from the dried food. I've also ordered DAO, which is supposed to be natural. So I don't like adding things. I'm like, nature will do its job. But then when the nerve pain was just too much, so I just grabbed every natural antihistamine, which I had not tried. I'd done magnesium, which is a natural antihistamine. Sodium can be a natural antihistamine. They're involved in the enzymes that break down histamines. They say, probiotics can help support and not have the food irritate the body as much. Same with the enzymes. But then for me to be on something like this, I was like, have I tried everything? Because mast cell activation can be set off by the delivery system of a tablet. So that tablet dropping in my stomach before it releases quercetin can set off histamines. So you try avoid anything. The more natural, histamine-free foods are like the best food-wise with
Yeah,
going
and
in.
after taking that for some time, it might stabilize, and you might not need it at some point, right?
Yes, I'm actually starting to think that when the DAO gets delivered, which is diamine oxidase, because I am missing the organ which predominantly makes it, which is the stomach, that may have been my problem all along. But I'm just not someone who now gets a problem and throws a whole lot of pills at it, because that you have to learn how the body's responding, try different foods, and then if all does that, you've done that, and then I will add something in.
Random opinion.
Uh,
Fasting when vegan for just 10 days, experience really sharp sense of smell, side knee, arthritis.
oh, that's great. Good
Oh,
for
that's
you.
beautiful. Oh my God, that's beautiful.
That's lovely. It definitely is
Thanks for
lovely.
sharing. No more brain fog. Oh my God, the mental health is one of the most important, Oh, I'm feeling, I'm happy that
Sure.
you are
So then the
good.
follow-up is then I got back to eating junk food and chicken right after this. Now, what I will say to people is never discount anything good you do for your body, because when you start not feeling well again, you'll be like, you know what, I really should be trying to do this more. I think that's important.
Yeah, someone who wants to go vegan, definitely I recommend you go watching Dominion. Understanding the reality of what's going on, with this industry. It's the way to go vegan, because
Of
I
course.
always, yeah, I think what Karen mentioned, like someone was asking, like, what was, did I share this Instagram with you? Someone was asking at the vegan wellness retreat, what would be the advice for people in exactly what Olaf was going through, doing the clean detox, and then all of the sudden, like, you're going for junk food. And it's a common cycle of people who wants to go raw vegan. And Karen responded saying that, if you are having hard time sticking with vegan diet to begin with, go to the Avatar. That's the best way to go vegan. Just
True.
understanding where your food is coming from, and what kind of suffering animal is going through. And for me, that was a definitive thing to stay vegan. 100% vegan, no
That's
turning back.
true. That's true. So vegan to me is different to plant-based foods. Like plant-based foods, like the vegan aspect for me was just a complete battle. That when I was I started to go into rock bottom and had the FND and I couldn't walk and talk, that nothing was, I had help from family, but no animals were just deciding to put me on a barbecue, or like, it was much of an awakening. And then that was that side of it where it's like, I'll just eat anything vegan. And in truth, there's a substitute for anything vegan, for anything that's not vegan. But going like plant-based, but at least now you tried to go vegan and you felt how your body responds. And I think that is really important, is when you start knowing that, because then that's sort of saying to you, is this how we should be doing it? Or is there a different way?
And she mentioned discipline is hard, and it does not become discipline. Once you see the reality, and for me, watching the meaning or seeing how the avatar works, it was no discipline after. It was just understanding the reality and saying, okay, I don't want to put that. I don't want any animals to go through that torture.
100%.
But more than that, for me to put that energy into my body, it was just, I mean, it was not going to happen anymore once I understood it. So it's no longer the discipline. But going back to the first message that Ola mentioned, now this person knows how it feels like to go. That's right. Like feeling so clear and no discomfort in her body, in his body. That's that becomes a good addiction to us, right? That's why I stay high.
Yes, the feel good journey.
I feel so good. Like even if I eat food, like, oh, I want to feel great again. And and then the long-term journey or the sustainable way is to stick with it, not to go through this detox after going through this junk food.
Yes.
And 100%. Community is important. Community is so important.
It is. So thanks, guys. Thanks, Kiko.
Thank you, Skye. Thank you, everyone, for connecting. I really enjoy reading everyone's message and hearing more about Skye's journey. Curiosity.
And your journey.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to search for it and order.
All right, cool. All right, we'll see you all soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.